Hey there, Troop TT. It's your host, M. I wanted to tell you really quick, if you purchase any of the merch listed below and you use the code SUNSET at purchase, you get 10% off. But it expires September 7th, so better move fast. Okay, shameless self-promotion, done. Ooh, it's been a while since we've had a brand spanking new World's Dumbest Criminals. And we're about to remedy that. From a man who thought duct tape could fix literally everything, to a couple who decided to tip their waitress using an illegal substance, I am proud to introduce you to 10 of the world's dumbest criminals. Alrighty, bring in the lineup. A robber decided that he was going to use the best thing for his face mask. Duct tape. After all, it fixes everything, right? Apparently, it doesn't fix the fact that this man, Casey, has no brains. Casey wrapped duct tape all over his head and then walked into a liquor store in an attempt to rob the place. Unlucky for him, the store manager also had something wrapped in duct tape. A club, which he used as a weapon to repel the intruder. Another employee chased Casey down and held him for police, who ripped the duct tape off him. Yes, they ripped it off, because there is no other way to get tape off of a person. I know you've been there, at least once. Lucky for Casey, it was a hot day, and his profuse sweating kept the tape from pulling off all his hair, or his skin. He was then charged with first-degree robbery. Those brutal cops, they should have taken him to an air-conditioned room before taking the duct tape off. Now, this next robber didn't use duct tape for his disguise, but it wasn't any better. After stealing a BB gun from a local Kmart, Dennis decided he was going to rob a bank. But he couldn't just walk right into the place. He had to disguise himself first. So, he donned a blonde wig, fake tatas, and some clown pants. No one would suspect it was him if he dressed like a woman. Oh, except for the fact that he didn't shave first. So, he walked in dressed like a woman with a full goatee. He fled the bank with an undisclosed amount of money, but when he opened the bag, red dye splattered all over his face. There was literally no way anyone would not be able to recognize him. Police arrived at a gas station after a tip that Dennis had just stolen a car, and he was still in the parking lot, sitting in the very car he had just stolen. The bandit, with a unique fashion sense, is now in jail, donning another unique fashion sense. This time, a lot more orange. Stephanie walked into a Wells Fargo bank in Oregon and handed the bank teller a note. It said, "Need $300 or I'll kill you. I'm serious." There was one problem. The bank teller could not read this note due to the fact that Stephanie had horrible penmanship. So, the teller told Stephanie she couldn't read the writing and asked her to rewrite it on a bank slip. Stephanie turned around to grab a bank slip, and as she was grabbing it, the bank teller pushed the silent alarm. The bank's manager came out at this point and straight up asked how they could help Stephanie, taking things nice and slow, step by step, until police and FBI arrived and took Stephanie into custody. Maybe if she wasn't under the influence of drugs, she could have written her first note a little better. Or she would have decided not to rob a bank at all. Hearing is a key component to committing any crime. Klaus did not agree with this. In 1995, Klaus attempted to rob a Berlin bank. He went in with a gun and demanded money. When asked if he needed a bag, he yelled back, "Yes, it's a real gun." The bank personnel realized that Klaus was completely deaf. One of the employees set off the alarm. No need for a silent alarm this time, after all, not like Klaus would hear it going off. He remained calm, oblivious to the alarm, until the police showed up and arrested him. An interesting twist. Sometime later, Klaus sued the bank for exploiting his disability. He did not win, and now is out even more money. Sounds like Klaus should have practiced reading lips before deciding to rob a bank. One of the keys to a successful burglary is picking out the right place. A really perfect house would be full of valuables with no people inside. The next best thing would probably be a home where the residents are sleeping. Now, on the opposite side of the spectrum, try to imagine what would make the worst target. How about a house full of police officers? That's what Darren chose. The home he selected had already been burgled earlier that night. The owner had called police and officers were on the scene investigating the previous burglary when Darren showed up. He tried to make a run for it but was captured after a brief struggle. The plot thickens. This wasn't Darren's first unsuccessful burglary attempt of the same day. He'd previously tried to break into a nearby house but failed to do so. He did, however, manage to break some glass, cut himself, and leave blood at the scene. So, cops were easily able to link him to that crime as well. This next man may be the dopiest criminal ever. And how fitting, because his name, no joke, is Dopey. Dopey had just walked into a store in the UK and dropped off his resume in hopes of a new job. When he was denied this opportunity, he decided if he wasn't getting a job there, he would come back and steal the money instead of working for it. So he did just that. He ran off with a little over $22,000, but was easily identified by the store's manager because, well, he had just applied for a job there and left his resume, which included his address and phone number. Police showed up at his house and found that he had robbed a few other places too. He had a betting slip with the note, "I have a gun, open the door or I will shoot you." But hey, at least the cops could read what was written on his note. If you thought leaving a resume at your place of burglary was bad enough, how about bringing your resume and handing it directly to the cops? But no one could be that stupid, you may be saying. Oh, would you be wrong? A man from Arizona was arrested for theft after he quit his job at the bank he had just robbed, moved to Phoenix, and then decided it was time for a career change. As in, he wanted to be a cop now. So he waltzed right into the police station and asked for a job. I doubt he would have gotten it because it sounds like his brain was really struggling to function, as in it wasn't functioning at all. The police had printouts and were looking for him, and their job just got so much easier. He never did get his job as an officer, but he did get to spend a considerable more amount of time with the guards inside the prison. In the movies, when a security camera needs covering up, the criminals usually spray paint it or stick something over the lens, just like our next winner decided to do. Only the thing with spray paint is, you don't ever need to touch the camera. Our friend decided they were too cheap for spray paint, so Play-Doh had to suffice. They walked into the store and began placing Play-Doh on all the visible camera lenses. In doing so, each camera now contained a perfect identifying marker, the shoplifter's thumbprint. The print was ran through the database and a criminal was apprehended, and lucky for them, their identity was kept a secret. Some things really call for splurging on, like a can of spray paint instead of a 50-cent container of Play-Doh. I really don't have words for this next one, so I guess we'll just dive right in. A Swedish man browsing a certain dating website was annoyed that a 13-year-old girl he'd been attempting to sleep with didn't turn up for their date. He'd given her almost $100 as an advance payment, but after she started to ignore him, he tried to get himself justice by ringing her father to demand she provide a refund, because she didn't want to sleep with him. I can only imagine how that phone call went down. Suffice to say, the Swedish man didn't get a refund. Suffice to say, his plan backfired very, very hard. As in, metal doors slamming closed hard. Anyone who has worked in food service knows how nice it is when you get a real nice tip. It can change the mood for the rest of your shift. Well, one waitress got a tip she never imagined she would get. And no, It wasn't $4,000 from Shaq. It was an envelope with a certain substance rhyming with Seth. Yes, Ryan and Erica spent their last free Thursday night having dinner and drinks at a steakhouse. When it came time to pay their bill, they plunked down a gift card. But they couldn't leave without tipping their waitress, so they dug deep into their pockets and tipped her with what they had. She was beyond shocked because she says, "We're not a little dive bar or a hole in the wall. We're a classy place." Police found the couple shortly after, and they were both booked into jail, where, guess what? They don't have to worry about gift cards or tipping anyone anytime soon. Well, that's all we have for this video. I hope you enjoyed our 10th installment of World's Dumbest Criminals. Can't believe we've done 10 already. If you enjoyed, please leave a thumbs up. Please leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And as always, stay safe, Troop TT.